Hey people of VC, it's Andy Cloudy Mulder. Another competition entry for you this time. Seems to be competition season at the moment. This time for great channel, BillyHurst. He's having a 200 subs competition again. Sorry for that. I try to keep up with the competitions. I've forgotten them for a second. Yeah, 200 subs competition. He's got 2,000, but 200 of those are since he's started doing VC video. So congratulations on that, Billy. Got a great channel. Shows a mixture of metal and country, and also does a bit of singing and playing guitar and stuff. He's got absolutely amazing voice. But yeah, check out his channel if you haven't already. You probably have. So Billy, you asked us to play the name game, where we show a different record for each initial in our name or screen name or what have you, and tell a little story about it. Now, I've gone for Cloudy Mulder. In fact, let's do Cloudy first and see if we've got time for Mulder. And yeah, there were some albums I probably would have loved to have shown, but they didn't fit. And so we'll see whether these stories are interesting or not. You be the judge of that. So let's start off with C. I'm going to show Cinderella Night Songs for this. I know a lot of people's favourite Cinderella song is the follow-up to this one, but this was always my favourite. I mentioned it in Farley's competition response a couple of days ago, that Cinderella were by default the first band I got to see live, because they opened up the Monsters of Rock festival in 1987 in Castle Donington. Yeah, so I had this on tape when I was killing the music industry in the 80s. One of the first records I picked up when I started collecting vinyl again. And I've always loved it. Always got a special memory from having seen these live. Being the first band that I ever saw live. I had no idea what the experience would be live. I'd only ever been to things like football matches before. I've been in that kind of crowd atmosphere, and yeah, it blew me away. Love going to gigs ever since. In fact, I've started going to gigs again in the last couple of years, and really enjoying it. Especially smaller concerts now, and not really the big ones. I'm going to go see Maiden in May, just because I haven't seen them before, and that's going to be a huge event. It's in Glasgow SSC, and that's going to be probably a mile away from the band, and big screens and things. I end up watching them on telly rather than live, but that's the size of them these days. But I love going to see new bands as well now. In fact, I was going to do this tomorrow night, which is why I'm kind of rushing through it a bit now, to do it tonight, because I've forgotten I'm actually going to go and see High Spirits tomorrow. They're a US new wave of traditional heavy metal band, got a fantastic album out called Motivator at the moment, and they're being supported by Toledo Steel, which is a band from Southampton in England. They're really good. They're just starting out as well. They've got a couple of EPs and an album out this year, which I'm really looking forward to. And third band on the bill, which is Midnight Force. I think I showed an EP of theirs, self-release EP recently. I think they're from Glasgow. So it's going to be a killer night tomorrow, so I'm really looking forward to that. But so Cinderella was the band that really got me addicted to gigs at an early age. Next up, L. Living Colour. Didn't have too many L's in my collection, but Living Colour. So they were an interesting band in the 80s, because there weren't many black guys in metal really. But these guys kind of had their own version as well. It was kind of a funky metal, but it really worked, and they were awesome. And I saw these as well in when Anthrax were touring with a State of Euphoria album. I went to see these in NEC in Birmingham, which is a bit of a trip away from where I lived in Cardiff. But yeah, they were full of energy and really colourful. It was very different from any other metal show I've seen. So yeah, it's great. And I've actually got two copies of this album. I've got a UK pressing, which I picked up about 2 or 3 days before I received a US copy from Corey's BC channel. For a second there. Very similar in the way that I think the difference is the the US pressing has a lyric sheet, whereas the UK pressing has a lyric inner sleeve. Other than that, pretty much the same, other than copyright notices and things on them. But yeah, great band from the 80s. Next up, I've gone for an Ozzy Osbourne album. No Rest for the Wicked. This is the first Ozzy album, solo album. In fact, the first anything that I had from Ozzy in the 80s. So what this is was 87, was it? I think, I can't remember. But yeah, I wasn't into his voice at the time. I remember picking this up, and I didn't really dig it that much either. So it didn't actually get played that much. But over the years, my tastes have changed a lot, really. I still like a lot of the stuff that I used to, but things that I kind of wrote off or I didn't really enjoy that much before, I really enjoy now, and this is a great album. Love playing this. In fact, it's probably one of my favourite Ozzy Osbourne albums, not because it was my first one that I picked up, but just great songs on here. So yeah, Miracle Man, Bloodbath in Paradise, Fire in the Sky, Demon Alcohol, all really good tracks on here. So yeah, actually, was I supposed to say what tracks I liked off the other albums? Nah, never mind. So yeah, so Ozzy Osbourne, first one I picked up, that's You. I've only got two bands to begin with, You, so I'm going to do a bit of VC sucking up here and show fellow VC members band, Ultimatum. Again, I'd never heard of Ultimatum before the VC. Scott was always been great with my channel and watching and commenting and engaging in conversation. Every time I leave a comment on his videos, he always responds. And he was kind enough to send me a copy of this. It's the Rock Records Underground Series #2. It's been shown a lot, but I treasure this a lot because it's something personal that he sent. And it actually took me, I'm not going to take up too much because it took me a while to actually kind of get my head around a bit. It took me sort of 3, 4, 5 spins, and then it kind of clicked. And yeah, Heart of Metal. Love the version of Wrathchild. Yeah, but a good album, and very much a main part of my collection now. D. This is something different. This is something I wouldn't show because it's not in my metal collection, and I'm kind of only showing my. This is an album I had. I think it came out in about 1990. Although I'm unsure exactly. If you search for this on Google, you'll see websites that list it, but for the release date, they also say maybe around 1989, 1990. And this was a blind buy. I have no idea where I got it from. This is by a band called the Dice Men, and this is Sitting on the Tarmac. It's on, where is it? Refuge Records. It looks very much home produced. They're kind of a punk ska band from Reading, I think. They were based around Reading University. I'm not going to get out and show all these other ones, but as I've not shown this before, and I'm probably unlikely to, again, let's have a look at what's inside. So the, as I say, very much homemade looking record. Peasants Revolt is it's got this flyer in here which is very difficult to read, but shows some of the other releases on Peasants Revolt, and again very much handmade and hand photocopied. And there's this booklet in here as well, which is again very difficult to read. It's actually upside down, couldn't tell from the picture, but it's got lots of articles in here. It's very kind of political and about things that are happening at the time. Very small font to read, probably been photocopied a million times. It does actually have the lyrics in the middle, but it's not a bad album. I'll probably play it probably once in a blue moon just to remind me what it was like. But I'd say look it up on YouTube, but I'd be surprised if it's there. But songs I remember being quite good. Middle of Nowhere, Pop a Pill was actually quite good. Politician, yeah, so something a little bit different. So not something I would have a lot of. I used to quite like some of the ska music from the 80s, really, sort of the whole two-tone stuff. When I was really young, that was in charts. But yeah, something different for the Dyson. Looking for time, 10 minutes in. Y, the only Y I have in my collection. I've got quite a few of these, but yeah, Yngwie J. Malmsteen. This is Odyssey. I've picked Odyssey because this is the album he was touring on when I saw him live. Jolene Turner on vocals. Yeah, just your general guitar wizardry, jiggery pokery, guitar wankery stuff that Malmsteen did, and I really like that. Yeah, so when I saw them in Cardiff, Jolene Turner strutted on stage for the first number. He was wearing a full, I don't know if it was blue or purple, full leather outfit, and came on the stage, probably slipped, managed to regain his balance, but enough to be completely embarrassed, and then he just looked pissed off for the rest of the gig, to be honest with you. But it was great to see Yngwie Malmsteen live. So there's my Y, Odyssey, Yngwie Malmsteen. It's 88. So that's the first name done. Next up, so M. Shown this band a few times. Again, not rock and metal, but when I've had the opportunity in some of the competition entries, or when people are talking about, asked me to talk about some of my other records that I'm into, I mentioned the Manic Street Preachers a lot. Now, this is a band that didn't really have a lot of commercial success early on, but I think they kind of craved it. And I think one of the things that annoyed them slightly was their first breakthrough chart-wise that got them a top 10 single was actually a cover, and it was this charity single. It's the theme from MASH, the US TV show from the 70s. So this has got Manic Street Preachers' theme from MASH on the A side, and a version of Everything I Do It For You by the Fatima Mansions on the B side. I have no recollection of what that sounds like. But there's also on the B side, there's this extra track here called Sleeping with the Enemy. I meant to play this before we're on, but if I remember rightly, it's just like an interview track, but it's not an interview with a band. It's an interview with some journalists. So a day or two before, they were getting interviewed, and one of the members of the band at the time, Richie Edwards, was quite a troubled bloke by all accounts, and he was asked by a journalist if he was for real, and he promptly got out a knife and carved "for real" in his forearm, much to obviously freaked out the journalist a bit more. I think it might have been Steve Lamacq, who's more of a famous DJ in the UK. I might have that wrong, but yeah. So this track on the B side here is just about the journalist talking about whether they should publish that article or should be talking about it, and some guy saying, yeah, it's absolutely relevant. It's more rock stars should be doing this kind of shock tactics. Other people just saying it's just generally a gross thing to do. But Richie Edwards was a troubled man. He soon after this, he ended up disappearing. They found some of his belongings, I think, on the by the Severn Bridge, which is the main bridge between Wales and England over the River Severn, and he's never been seen since. But yeah, so Yeah, interesting number. So they did actually the songs that they had before and after this. I think was Motorcycle Emptiness came before this, and Little Baby Nothing came after it, and they are both phenomenal songs, but they didn't chart as well. And Manic Street Preachers didn't actually get any major chart success until I think it was 1996 when Design for Life came out. So yeah, so I've chosen for my M Manic Street Preachers, and just something a little bit different. The first taste of success, but not the one that they wanted it to be. Now, it's obviously going to be Iron Maiden, isn't it? I wanted to choose something a bit different. Showed some Iron Maiden in Farley's competition response, my last entry. But I've only got two bands beginning with I, and the other one isn't very good. So Maiden it is, and I'm going to show Lil Cheaper, which is the first Maiden single I ever owned. It was my introduction into heavy metal. I do remember when this was actually getting played on not commercial radio, on National Radio 1, which wasn't a commercial station, it's the BBC in the UK. And I remember one such time being in the back seat with my friend. His mum and dad were it was their car, they were driving, no idea where we'd been, but this came on the radio, and I was like, oh wow, this song is brilliant, you'll all love this song. And got his dad to turn it up, and they were just looking at me like I was, what the hell were they listening to, and who was this crazy kid in the back of the car that was saying that this was awesome music. But starting my love affair with Iron Maiden and heavy metal, so that's my I. L. Had a few more to choose with this one, but nothing that's really got a good story associated with it. So I'll show one I've shown recently. Much newer band. This came out last year. This is Liquid Steel, Midnight Chaser, new wave of traditional heavy metal band. I'm showing this one because this is how you. This is a great example of how you should treat your customers from record labels. So. I didn't realise at the time when I ordered it, but if you were one of the first 20 people to order it, they kind of threw a whole load of stuff in. So it came and it was signed by the band, which was pretty cool. When I opened it up, there was a whole load of stickers and stuff in there. And there was also a signed card from the producer, so Jay Hundert, the producer. He wrote a little thank you on one of his business cards, and it's kind of just made you think, like, these guys care about their fans, and they're just grateful people are buying their music. So I thought it was pretty cool. So this is a limited copy, number hand numbered, number 21 of 300. So that's my L. Check out Liquid Steel if you haven't. They've got a couple of albums out. First one's perhaps I don't know, slightly better. I clicked with it a lot more, but I think it's only available on CD. But, very good stuff. That's L. MILD. Again, I want to go. My D is not going to be non-metal as well. I've gone for a Dinosaur Jr. Haven't got too much Dinosaur Jr. on vinyl. So this is a single, The Wagon off Green Mind, I think it was. So I went to see Dinosaur Jr. on this tour. I was living in Liverpool at the time, as a student in Liverpool, and they were playing in Manchester. And being a little naive, I didn't even think to look at what time the trains were going to go back between Manchester and Liverpool. And the gig finished, and I dragged a friend over. He didn't know this band very well, but he was one of my best. Well, is my best mate still. And so he was a little pissed that we missed the train back, and what were we going to do? We're in a strange city with students, we've got no money. And we happened to bump into another guy that was on our course, a Spanish guy, and he said, "Oh no, it's fine, it's okay. I know somebody that lives in Manchester. We can go and crash at his house. It'll be fine. It'll be absolutely fine. No worries." So we thought, "Oh great, okay, we'll kip over to this guy's house." And and we'll just head back to college the next morning. So as we're trying to find this other guy was a student as well, trying to find his building in the halls of residence. We start talking to Spanish friend and just saying like, well, how do you know this guy? It's like, oh, I met him, and he explained. I don't remember exactly how he met him, but he met him. And this guy said to him, anytime you're in Manchester, just drop in. And it turned out that he'd only ever met him once. And to us, that was the kind of throwaway comment that you say to them, anytime you're in town, come and stay. And this was before anyone had mobile phones. So we ended up knocking on this poor guy's door at about 1 o'clock in the morning. He barely recognised Jose, his name was, and these other two strangers that were with him, and he ended up letting us stay. He probably slept with a baseball bat under his bed or something, with these crazy guys over from Liverpool. What are they doing? But he did let us in, and we stayed there till morning and kicked us out quite early, I think. So that was interesting. That was things you get up to when you're young and you've had a couple of beers and you don't really think more than one step ahead. But yeah, anyways, it was a great gig. Jay Mascis was brilliant. Right, so E, I've got a few E's as well, but again, the E's I've got, they don't really have many good stories against them. But then again, I'm 20 minutes in, so who needs another story? So I've gone for Exuma, a band that I never heard of in the 80s, but probably somebody through the VC, I think, had shown one or two of these. Something by Exuma. I picked up a CD of theirs, absolutely loved it. Found out that a lot of Exuma stuff from the 80s on vinyl is pretty damn expensive. I think I managed to pick up this one cheap on eBay, which was great. If you haven't checked out their last album from last year, it was one of my favourites, one of my top albums from last year, The Raging Tides. This is absolutely superb. There's a lot of 80s geriatric thrash, I heard it called recently. Bands releasing quality releases now, not just jumping on the bandwagon and just churning out the same old crap, but not that it was crap, you know what I mean, not just churning out the same stuff, but maturing their sound and coming out with killer albums. So Exuma is my E. This is Possessed by Fire, which is a German pressing from, it's not going to have the date on it, is it? Hasn't got a date of it. I can't look at the record either because it's on my turntable and there's a stack of CDs, which you're going to see on Thursday next week. So yeah, E, Exuma. Sorry, I lost my track there. So last but not least, for me, it's got to be the Ramones. I've shown most of my Ramones collection, 70s and 80s, in another series, which I'm way behind. I've still got to do a 90s video. Keep promising myself, but not enough time. So I've gone for a bootleg this time. So this is Ramones, Joey as a Punk, Roxy Theatre, Los Angeles, California, 12th of August 1976. Ramones fans who picked up I think it was the latest record store day release in the US. There was a Ramones live album came out. It's the same album as this, but hopefully better produced. There's 15 tracks on here, obviously from 76, so it's very early Ramones. Although the vinyl is flawless, the pressing of this bootleg is poor. So on track 1 on both sides, it just kind of skips. It's almost like the grooves aren't deep enough for the needle. It just sort of skates across. But yeah, interesting that the Record Store Day release from last year was already out as a bootleg. But the rest of it actually, it doesn't sound great. So I hope they did a better job on the Record Store Day release. But there you go. That's my Billy. That's my name game for Cloudy Mulder. Again, check out Billy's channel. He's an absolutely great guy. Had some good conversations in the comments with him. There we go, 25 minutes. Sorry it's so long. If you're still with me, thanks for watching, and catch you again soon. Bye.